JaMarr Chase rest of season anyway today. So let's just jump into that segment. And we can put him up against Justin Jefferson, because I think that's an interesting talking point, Steve. Where are you at with these two players? Both fairly undervalued in the offseason compared to, like, these are guys are normally like top 3 to 5 picks. You were getting Chase and Jefferson outside the top 5 in many fantasy drafts. And now, obviously, Jefferson exceeding expectations with the quarterback room, and JaMarr Chase, a lot of people worried about Higgins, injuries, Burrow, injuries. And Chase looks like, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the NFL, not just fantasy football.
Yeah, I mean, both absolutely excellent receivers. Like you mentioned, Jefferson was kind of falling back to the end of the first round in some drafts because of the concern of Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold looked pretty good to start the year. I mean, and then, now he's starting to show, signs of the old Sam Darnold a little bit. Terrible game yesterday. I mean, I had the Vikings survivor, and thank God you had Mac Jones on the other side. And the Vikings defense as well. I mean, the Vikings defense was, just getting the ball back again and again and again. And Darnold kept going down to the red zone and throwing picks. So that's a little bit of a concern. Obviously, Chase has been, he's been exploding. The last game was amazing. T. Higgins was out though. So when T. Higgins comes back, I think that may throw Chase, he maybe a little bit lesser numbers. It's very close. I still think I slightly prefer Jefferson just because he's kind of the main squeeze there. Although Chase, he could definitely just erupt at the going forward as well too. So very close. I give Jefferson the slight nod here.
Yeah, I'm actually on the other side with JaMarr Chase. And Jefferson has been amazing this year, very much deserving of the contract. I was really worried about the quarterback room. And Sam Darnold, up to a few weeks ago, has been looking like a candidate for comeback player of the year. He's kind of going backwards a little bit. Jefferson over 20 PPR points, it looks like, in all but 3 games this year. His worst performance coming this week against Jacksonville. On paper, it should have been a smash spot. Jefferson's getting it done. He's had back-to-back games going into yesterday, over 115 yards, but he is now on a 4-game touchdown drought. When it comes to target share, he's only had 1 game with over 10 targets. He had 14 back in week 5 against the Jets. He's been below 9 every other game, but still, he's very efficient. 107.3 air yards per game. He's getting 33% of the team targets. He's being targeted on 31.2% of the routes he is running. It's all there for Justin Jefferson. So my concern with Justin Jefferson moving forward is if Sam Darnold turns back into a pumpkin. And it's scaring me a little bit. Like, if we go back, I feel like to that Rams game, Indy, now Jacksonville, Sam Darnold, he looks a little bit off. I don't know if it's, is Aaron Jones getting a little bit, is he slowing down a little bit? Because when Aaron Jones is prolific in this offense, the passing game is also prolific. So there could be a correlation there. Meanwhile, when it comes to JaMarr Chase, I get it. He smashed this week, but he also smashed in week 5 against Baltimore. He's put up over 90 fantasy points in the 2 games against the Ravens. But even if we go back to week 3, Washington, he gave us 29. So it wasn't just like the Ravens game like you're suggesting. It's also he did it against Washington. After a slow start, first 2 games, and that's normal for the Bengals and JaMarr Chase and Joe Burrow. They always suck the first 2 games of the year. Then they start clicking. He has given us no games in single digits, a couple of low weeks. He's had a 12-point week, an 11-point week since week 3, but he's been very much reliable. He's getting it done, scoring touchdowns. The volume is there, 4 games with double-digit targets, including each in his past 3. Now, is there a correlation with T. Higgins out? Yes, when T. Higgins is in, T. Higgins has out-targeted JaMarr Chase quite a few times this season, but still, Jefferson's a superior wide receiver. I think the matchups between these 2 wide receivers are fairly equal. I just think the ceiling is so much higher for JaMarr Chase, and the deal breaker for me is Joe Burrow. It's been a long time since I was able to say this, because for a very long time, it was Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. right? Their connection, you will never see anything better. Brady and Edelman. What we have here, the connection between Joe Burrow and JaMarr Chase is on the level of Brady, Gronk, Edelman. It's on the level of Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. And you can make a strong case that Joe Burrow is a better passer of the football than Tom Brady. And I think he's right on par with Aaron Rodgers' skill set. So, yeah, I am buying in to the JaMarr Chase rest of season. And the defense in Cincy is a little bit leakier, so they're going to have to throw more to score and win games. And they're not out of the playoffs yet. I did do the show at RotoWire with Jim every Monday, and I said, I can't believe they're having this prolific season. The Bengals are out of it. They're 4-6. Right now, they're the 9 seed. Denver, I think, they're going to turn back into a pumpkin. And I think we see because since he plays Denver, since he plays Chargers, both ahead of them in wild card. Chargers next week. In week 17, they get Denver. I think that game in week 17 is going to be for a wild card spot, and my money's on Joe Burrow. But, yeah, I'm on Chase rest of the season, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are 1-2. So, I mean, both are, and then Chase obviously took the big edge last week with the actual explosion of a game. Jefferson didn't have a great game. So, very close. I don't, mind saying Chase either. Gets a little bit tougher with the schedule for Chase, though. Gets the Chargers, gets the Steelers, Cowboys, maybe a little bit healthier on defense, but they're a shit show. Titans, Browns, Broncos the rest of the way. And then the Vikings get the Titans, the Bears, Cardinals, Falcons, Bears, Seahawks, Packers the rest of the way. So maybe a little bit better for Jefferson, but definitely Burrow is way above Sam Darnold. He looks like he's fallen off a cliff a little bit, but maybe he bounces back this week. We'll see.
One note for anybody looking at the schedule and you see Tennessee and you think L'Jarius Sneed. JaMarr Chase, remember when the Bengals were beating Kansas City, JaMarr Chase got the best of Sneed quite a few times. So that matchup scares me a little bit less.
Yeah. I would take him against anybody, even Surtain, he's a must start regardless.
Especially with that quarterback. Yeah, the quarterback makes the world of a difference. Like we are seeing with Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes right now. Because Hopkins didn't have a pop game in fantasy, but he was winning against Patrick Surtain Jr. So Anthony Joseph Hampton down by 29, Achane and Stafford